Okay, signal.
I'm throwing stuff on it.
On signal, so first of all signal, which I just said just now, press OK, type of signal PWM, and then it will say profile and select solar. Once you've done that, then you need to go to speed control and press OK. Speed control you need to check, you need to change that, so press the right hand button, change that to M2, start with minimum speed, so which is M2. Okay, and then down here, maximum speed, you can set that to 30%. Maximum speed here. Okay.
You say 50. 40.
Or 40, that's right. That's a long pipe, yeah, 40 is fine. And minimum speed, you want to reduce that, because this one's set to 25, so yeah, 15's better on that. So if I just change that to 15%. Okay.
Not 10.
It is a short run, 10's fine. It's just basically...
It's all depend on the run, so...
Yeah, it does. It is. It's just so that it's not running too hard. Because bear in mind that pump over there on the right configuration can do about £20. You've only got a few, haven't you? So, and then escape, and then save changes. Yes, you're back to the beginning. So we're back to the beginning, and then on here you can press on the menu. Operating mode, if you want to check it's all working properly, go into operating mode at the beginning. So I got to that, so I just go back to the beginning where it's showing the display. If you keep pressing the button, it will always, escape button, it will always take you back to this display. Press that middle button there, that brings up the menu. And then if you go zoom up and down until you get to operating mode, press OK and switch it to manual. And then you just go on manual. Manual relay 1, and it's running on manual now. It's just running on manual mode. And then when you want to go back, you just go, it will just give you the option of going back to automatic. It will actually ask you, do you want to go back?
And it's got to run on automatic, hasn't it?
Has to run on automatic, but you want to run it on manual. If, say for example, you get there, you filled the whole system up, the sun's not out, you want to check it's all working properly. Just switch on to manual mode, that will just start the pump up, and then you just check it's all working properly, see if you've got any bubbles left in the system. So it's worth actually running it on manual while you've still got your pump connected, just in case.
So what page is that on?
That's on the front page.
No, on the numbers. What number is it?
Oh, okay, so I press...
These lads all got numbers.
Oh, numbers, okay, so press the second button in to bring in the display, operating, to bring up the menu, and operating mode is number 4.
Number 4. Simple as that.
Operating mode. And when you switch it to manual, then once it's running on manual, if you touch any button, it will give you the option. It will ask you, do you want to put it back on automatic? And it will just say, and you just say yes. That's all there is to it. So the only thing you've really got to do is check that the signals. You've got to check that the signal type is PWM, the profile is solar, and then you've got to make sure that the speed control is set to M2. Maximum pump speed 40%. Minimum pump speed 10 or 15% on a longer pipe run, and then you press the escape button, get right away back to the beginning, and then if you press the second button in, that will bring up the main menu, scan down to number 4, operating mode, select that, and that will give you the option to run the pump on manual. So run the pump on manual before you've disconnected your pump, because sometimes, depending on your pipe length, you might just get a glug of air come through, and you'll see that on your flow setter. And then you switch it to manual and go home, and that's it, it's done. It's actually, when you've done a few, it's incredible. To begin with, it's a real pain in the arse. When you've done a few, it's so easy. Yeah, it is. Then it's just like you know exactly which tool to use where, and you know, don't you? You know, it's like that. You don't have to measure anything. It just happens. It's really fast.
Is anything meant to do with this?
The pump, once it's set on manual, good point, well remembered. Yep. Once the pump's set on manual, you've got the manual for this one. It should be. Now, once you set it, is this thing plugged in?
Yeah.
Okay, so operating mode, okay, manual. press R1, manual 1 started. On here you hold this button down for about 5 seconds. This will normally win.
The only button on the phone.
Just tell us the light sequence and we'll have to know.
Yeah, so look, you go through the settings, you hold the button down and then it allows you to scroll through the things. There's a little booklet that comes with every single pump. Look on page 27 and you're looking for PWM profile, and on page 27 you, and it will show you, because it changes on different pumps.
What's the purpose of that?
This pump can be used for all
Just
sorts
different
of
speeds?
This can be used for plumbing, this can be used for a heating pump, can be used for anything. It's the toughest pump, it's a new pump, and it's basically it's the toughest pump they do.
It can't regulate itself.
And it's an automatic speed control. So it's and if you have a look at the manual, this one looks like it is
Should be set up right.
flashing green, amber, amber, amber. And some of them are, so it's gap, flashing green, amber, amber, amber on this one. And once you've done that, let go of it. Switch it off, and then you go into R1 here, and it switches it off to on manual. You get to manual operation, press R1 once it goes on, it's on, it's off on manual. And then when you press escape, it says, do you want to go back to automatic? And you'll say, yes.
What happens if one of the lads on a bad day, like we said, we all have a bad day,
Yeah.
and they leave it on manual? What happens then with the system?
It
If
will-
they walk away, they forgot to put it back to automatic, what happens then?
Well, it's going to carry on running, and the overheat will still work.
Yeah.
So if the sensor 2 at the bottom of the cylinder hits 60 degrees,
Yeah.
it will switch it off manual.
And then will it come back on as manual or automatic?
No.
So basically, if that gets to temperature and they've not turned it back on to automatic,
It's going to stop.
this system ain't going to work then, is it?
No, you have to go back and switch it on.
Right,
And
so
switch on
that's
to
the most
automatic.
important thing.
Yeah, put it back to automatic.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is that as long as you kind of switch it off when you've been fiddling around with it, and you will do, because when you're running on manual, you'll cool the panel down.
If they know about it, they won't forget to do it because they'll have to go back for a second visit. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm
automatic.
emphasising.
That's it. So basically, you've got a few things to set up in here. It's in the manual. These programmers normally come preset to PWM and solar, but you want to check it because sometimes they don't. What's happened is there's a shortage of memory chips at the moment, so they're having to mess around with the chips they're using because they can't get hold of enough chips. You're going to get some different pumps as well. You get some Velos. I don't think the Velos, they're the same size as this, but I don't think they need setting up. I think they're pre-set up anyway. But you might get some different pumps. Again, 2 wires. The most important thing is obviously the little wire goes into the right-hand side. The big wire is the power cable. But yeah, once you've got, that's all you have to do on this is just reduce the maximum pump speed. That's all you have to do, really. The rest of it's pre-set up. You've got to make sure that's upright when you leave. That's upright when you leave. And
Is there any way of setting the flow rate? This thing here
yeah, you can do. So once it's running on manual, you can twist that round so that the bottom of the float is on, to the bottom of the float
2 and 4 in between two.
two and 4, yeah, between 2 and 4. Because it only needs 2 litres per minute. That's what it needs to quench the panel. But if it's 4, it doesn't matter.
So that's why we're explaining about the manual, why you're putting it in manual. It's not just cutting a corner, we're doing it to set that. And as long as that plug at the bottom,
Bottom.
is
You see,
when it
reading-
goes up,
If
yeah.
you see it's reading the bottom of the plug, will read, when it's running on manual, will read something. And
Yeah,
if
2
you
and
set it
4.
between 2 and 4, that's it. Anywhere between 2 and 4 is fine.
Once you've done 3 of these, lads, I'm not being awful, yeah, it's job proof. Honestly, anyone can do it. It is simple. It just remember that manual thing. That's what you're doing it for, and then make sure it's automatic. Otherwise, this system just shuts, closes down, and all that. Like. Quick one. If these want to change the pump, just the pump head,
Yep,
we can split it there. We can
Yeah.
shut it off there.
And then
We can isolate it here.
yep.
that's it.
Right, and then we can take the head out, like we normally do, yeah, We don't need to split all this. All right, lads. And literally, because these are connectors, if you gently undo them with a screwdriver, there's plastic for God's sake, yeah, you're all strong lads.
They've got a clip.
This young man found out. And we take that off, you change the head and put it back. It's as simple as that, lads. Don't try and split these. When you split these, all hell lets loose. Sorry, my mate.
Yeah, it's a small electrical screw, a flathead in there, and you just, like as usual. And yeah, absolutely right. You can change just the head, or, if, for example, you might well find if you've got an issue with it, it's not working right, it might be worth taking the head off, because it's not unusual where someone's been doing something on the roof and something's got in the pipe.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up in there.
What I'm trying to get away is don't split the unions, because when these are tested in a factory, they're tested. Sometimes, especially with this coating around it, it's struggle to get them back. So just change, if you want to do anything, just change the headlamps. All right. I know we all know it, but it's a newspaper kit. If it was in a boy book, I wouldn't even mention it.
Yeah, they're nice and nice, sort of fairly simple bits of kit really. There's nothing much to it. It's as I say, that's all you need to know really. It's simple as that.
Does anyone got any questions?
All that's in that manual there, isn't it?
Read the book.
Bear in mind, you're trying to get this part here and the expansion vessel as low as you can, where you can still get to them. The reason being is because that steam's going to come down the pipe, so the lower you get it, the safer it's going to be. Because basically, you put these in. Now I've got a system at home that's been running since 2006. There's never been serviced. It's never been touched. I'm not going to touch it. It still works. Yeah. I know someone's got a system they put in 1974 in Newcastle. It's never been serviced. It still works. The panels are about the size of a garage door to heat a cylinder that big because they've improved a bit, but they still work. But then there are other ones that put in. There are millions of these systems put in with evacuated tubes that are an absolute nightmare. They are a problem because they just create too much steam. But these ones here, really simple, really reliable, and
easy to maintain. That's what it's all about. Even if it's going feet on, we can still fix that
absolutely.
pump without even draining the system.
Yeah, really simple, and yeah, that's going to be upright. Yeah, to adjust the flow setup, it's just twist that, just to adjust it when the pump's running on manual.
Simple.
Is it okay to mount the expansion vessel on the floor?
You've got to be able to get to the bottom of it for the valve.
No, like, you see how it is like that? Obviously spin it up that way and you can mount it on the floor.
When it's upside down, then you've got to bleed it. That's the only problem because you'll have air trapped in the pipe.
No, it'll be on the side basically. It'll be horizontal.
The expansion vessel on
Yeah,
the side.
put
Well,
it on
again,
horizontal.
again,
So obviously I know the bleed needs to be accessible.
You've got a problem with air though if it's horizontal, like that.
yeah, it's.
Yeah.
That's why you've got to have it vertical.
Yeah.
That non-return won't work well, will it?
No, the point is, if you put it on its side, the membranes are inside the vessel. They'll cripple the membrane on it.
We're talking on the solar side.
Yeah.
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 We're not talking about the other side.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean to say I haven't seen them on their side, but it doesn't mean to say they haven't worked perfectly. 'Cause they have.
Yeah. You just recommend it.
These on
That's
the
fine.
floor.
Or not on the floor, no. We're trying to, when we're trying to do on the wet side, yeah, you need to try and get
Not on the hot and
Yeah, so
cold.
you want to put
Right,
these
no,
on
that's
the
all.
lenses.
on
Yeah,
solar
like
beds.
you said,
Do
yeah.
it that way. like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Don't put it on the floor.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
brackets
There's
there.
300.
That's half of the heat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
so,
remember, this is the approved.
Yeah.